Guys, we've got a 12-team Superflex PPR 1.75 for the tight end, start 10. So, Scott, you're the 2 seed coming off of a first-round bye, but losing Monty hurts you. You have an inbox offer. You're giving your Rashee Rice and Monty. You're getting Gibbs and Jerome Ford. Go ahead, man.
Oh, I'm sure a lot of people are trying to figure out if you can still trade. Hopefully you can. A lot of listeners on this show probably are in leagues where there is no trade deadline, but you're probably wondering, what do I do with Monty? So we're not going to talk about that specifically in this answer, but I'm fine with this. I mean, the assessment for me is I'd take Gibbs over Rashee Rice. I can live with the results with that pretty easily. Then it comes down to what is I'm willing to give up Montgomery's future for short-term gains, which Jerome Ford, you can probably start pretty strongly over the last 2 weeks of the season. It's a Monty tax, Shane. I got to give him up. Yeah. But what is he? He's a 14 point per game running back that's probably in a good situation to repeat what he's done last year, this year, the year after. Like, until he doesn't, you probably have a decent amount of stake that you can say Montgomery is a solid running back going forward, but not a irreplaceable asset. Go try to put him on the block in your league and see what people are willing to pay for the non-playing the rest of the season David Montgomery asset. And immediately I'll give you 2/3. Like there isn't really a value. This should be a good example for everybody of what happens when one of these types of guys gets injured. Nobody wants him until people want him again. So I'm fine doing this deal. Give me Gibbs, give me Ford. I'm trying to win. I'm the 2 seed. I came off a bye. This should really set the league up to now the other teams in the playoffs.
Capitulate.
They're going to have to make a move to chase me.
They should capitulate and start trading away pieces. Just go, yeah. I can't match it. I apologize. Just, it's your title. I'm getting rid of everything. Yeah, that's got to be a short. The fact that I got that out correctly, used it correctly.
Oh, nicely done. Here, let me sum it up for the crowd again. So this is a 12-team Superflex PPR 1.75 for the tight end, start 10, and that's not including kicker and defense. You are giving your Rashee Rice and Monty. You're getting Gibbs and Jerome Ford.
They gone.
I
see you. I got to be honest with you. Even if I'm not in the playoffs.
Interesting.
Like, we're just 2 loser teams. Like, we're bored, as loser teams are. I would still make this deal. Jahmyr Gibbs and Rashee Rice aren't that far apart, I don't think, in dynasty value. And Jerome Ford's still under contract for another season. Nick Chubb is completely and utterly broken down and done. I'm not saying that Jerome Ford's going to match David Montgomery, but I bet you get more than a few starts out of him next year. Like, you tried to kill him this year and you couldn't. So I might even do this if I'm not in the playoffs.
Shane, you're out of it. You have Jahmyr Gibbs. What else do you need to be the seller of Gibbs to the team that's trying to bring home the ship? I mean, this is the league-winning chip that's probably available in your specific league. You have it. You probably want Rashee Rice. That fits. But what else do you need from – I mean, are you willing to just accept Montgomery? Are you trying to sell Ford separate? What do you want if you're the seller here?
No, Ford's going elsewhere. I'm also going to need – I'll look at your broken down pieces. Do you have Olave? Do you have Chris Godwin? Do you have Rashid Shaheed? If you have Olave and Rashid
you're
Shaheed,
not selling Ford with Gibbs, though, right? You want to extract different values for both?
Yes.
Okay.
And even if the person trying to trade for them is like adamant, they're not. They're going to cave. They are going to 100% cave, because are you going to give up getting Jahmyr Gibbs because you can't get your own Ford? Because if you would do that, you would hate yourself, absolutely hate yourself in the morning. Like having sex with me. You would not be happy.
Nice. I love it. Irish Jedi. I mean, we have to go to this super chat first, right? Thank you so much for the generous $100 super chat. Really appreciate you. So this is a 12-team Superflex start 11. And again, let me just reiterate this. So when we say start 9, start 10, start 11, what we're referring to is how many you start each week in your lineup, not including kicker and defense. So if it's a start 8, start 9, that's where it's a shallow format. You want to consolidate depth pieces. But here we have a start 11, which is a deeper format to where the more ancillary pieces are actually going to matter. So just keep that in mind. All right. Cheers, Irish Jedi. Scott, let's start with you, or Shane, let's start with you on this one. 12-team Superflex, start 11, PPR. There's no tight end premium. Kyler Murray, Stafford at quarterback. Jacobs, Henry, Mixon, Irving at running back. JJ, Puka, Nico, Terry, Marv, Evans, Cup, and Cooper. That has McBride at tight end, number 1 seed, and your guys' help was huge. Thank you. I've got the 108. Have the 108, a late first, and an early second. Who to consolidate / move in the offseason? Okay, so 12-team Superflex, start 11. Shane, your team is stacked, number 1 seed. You've got the 108, and you've also got an early second. And
I mean, you're going to want to sell. You already know who you're going to want to sell. It's like, oh, can I trade you Terry? Can I sell you Mike Evans and Cooper Kupp? Can I just combine those 3 and you give me back a 25-year-old wide receiver 1 low end? It's not going to happen. But obviously, if you can consolidate, you're looking at Terry, Evans, Kupp. Oh, Amari Cooper. I was trying to figure out. I was like, wait, Kupp and Cooper. It's the same guy. It's the same picture. Anyway.
Is Amari Cooper even an asset at this point?
No, he's a part-time football player. Look at his snap share. It's not great, Bob.
Maybe next year he gets the reset. Maybe.
Yeah.
That's why when I saw it, I was like, is this Austin Hooper? And he's accidentally in front of McBride. That's how like irrelevant the name Cooper is to me right now. And it's very sad. Go ahead, Shane.
It's a start 11. I'm not going out of my way to consolidate. I mean, obviously everyone is always available at all times. Just forever. There's just not a time that a player is not available. You're just going to have to knock my socks off to get JJ or Puka from me, right? You're going to have to like sell your soul. You might be able to get Nico, Puka, or JJ if you have Josh Adams. Nope, Josh Allen. I don't know who Josh Adams is.
Josh Allen. That's the guy you used to pick up on waivers all the time.
Oh, yeah, the running back.
Yes.
Former Eagle, wasn't he?
Yes.
Anyway, the only way I'm moving any of those players, you got to give me Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson. Am I missing anyone? I think that's the list, right? There's a needle movers.
Jaden Daniels.
You're not getting JJ off of me. We'll think about Nico or Puka only because of their injury concerns.
We can have a conversation. Jaden, JJ. That's definitely a conversation.
Yeah, I like Jaden a lot. He's just not, it's easy to get. Remember what he was in the beginning of the season. He was going to be the greatest quarterback in the history of football, and now he's just had a very nice rookie season.
It's there though.
Oh no,
see it. He's a good character, and I'm a Commanders fan, a little bit of a homer. But let's get back to Irish Jedi's $100 super chat here. So he says, who to consolidate / move in the offseason? What do you think about this team, Scott? It is a start 11, so depth does matter. And Shane was saying he's not rushing to consolidate. What do you think?
Well, here's the reality. Most of the pieces you listed on here, when you go through the analysis of what do I want to move versus what can I move and where do those two things intersect, you're going to arrive at maybe 3 players, maybe, because you're going to immediately go, oh, I'd love to move Joe Mixon, Derrick Henry, and Josh Jacobs until what you're getting offered is the 209, and then you're like, I'll probably just roll 2 of these guys back for this team next year, maybe 3, because I know one of them is probably going to die between now and the end of the season. Well, I'll tell you
what, you brought it up, right? So we're talking picks. Give me some 2026 seconds so that I can use them in season to buy back whatever running backs survive in that range.
But here's the thing, Shane. If I already have a guy, I mean, we're not talking, these aren't Tony Pollard, DeAndre Swift. These are 3 guys where if they're healthy, and yes, we're going to get to that topic. So quit putting it in the chat because we see it. We have 3 guys here that I think with Henry, Mixon, Jacobs, they're either in the league and they have the role that they have or they don't. You know what I mean? They're not, they're going to slowly get phased out and then all of a sudden not be good anymore. And it's going to take 2 years for you to get there. You know what I mean? Like if Derrick Henry's on a team, he's going to be used the way that he's used until he can't anymore. And then you're going to know, and it's probably going to be too late to get out. So sure. Can you snag a 26 first for one of those 3? If so, I'm fine just doing it and then worrying about it later. But I think the guys, if I truly can picture who on this list, Clay, is going to finish strong, but is not going to be such an undesirable asset that people are going to go, I don't want Amari Cooper. Yeah, you can consolidate off Amari Cooper when you get 4th round value by throwing him in, and that's what he counts in the trade. I'm probably better off going, man, Amari Cooper's been good for 8 years. I probably should just bank on that he's going to be usable next year and trade I don't know. Before this year, who would we have taken? Terry McLaurin or Amari Cooper? Oh, Amari's far better than Terry McLaurin until he's not. But I think the point is you'll be able to, if Terry McLaurin finishes stronger, Mike Evans finishes strong, you'll be able to trade those guys with at least some virility that other people will go, oh, yeah, I'll buy Terry McLaurin. I'll give you 2 seconds for him. So I think those are where your sell opportunities come from. The wild card in this is, can I sell Bucky Irving? Is that the running back I could get a first for?
Yeah,
can I sell Marvin Harrison Jr. on this team? Is that a tear down where I can pivot to something else and a pick, something like that? Like, that's where I'm looking to sell. I got to sell what other people are going to want to buy, not the old guys.
I'm assuming there's a trade deadline in this league, right? Because otherwise, I don't think he'd be waiting till the offseason, because Bucky Irving, you could easily get Bucky Irving for a first. And
it's got to be.
The other way
around. Asking who to consolidate / move in the offseason. Also has Jaden Daniels on this team. Let me add in that. But okay, yeah.
Can I move Kyler?
Oh, he forgot to add Jaden Daniels.
Exactly. Rude.
Top 6 dynasty quarterback.
So, all right,
this guy's here.
Let's handle this from one other angle, and then we'll keep moving from this generous donation. The picks has the 108, a late first, and then a pick that's an early second, somewhere between 201 and 204. So 108, a late first, and an early second. What do you have in mind for those?
I'll just be honest. If I have a team like this that has this much flexibility, because I pretty much have all bases covered. I mean, now that he added Jaden Daniels in there, what are the holes on this team? Like, there's some volatility, there's some fragility going forward, but there isn't an obvious, I have to upgrade this on this team next year. So if I'm him, I can run this team back. Even if I have 20% attrition, this team is probably still a playoff team easily next year. What I'm trying to do is take that 108, the late first, the 201 through the 204, and maybe another piece or two that I have thrown on my bench that's not listed. How can I get rid of all those middling assets and turn those into 26 and 27 firsts? Because you know how this team really becomes a powerhouse is in 2026. You somehow have 5 firsts.
Yeah, reload.
And you're going, I still have a core of Kyler, Nico, Daniels, whatever running backs are still alive then, Nico, Puka, Justin Jefferson, Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison, and 5 firsts. And the team never skips a beat for 4 years in a row. And you just continue to do this. Like, I'm trying to take that 108 in the late first. How do I turn that into 226 firsts? You know, like, those are picks on the clock. You'd go, I'd take a 25 first or 26 first for that 108, for that 110, 111. Like, quality over quantity on this team with those picks.
Right. At the same time, though, for new folks listening, if they're playing at a start 11, if you can get an extra third kicked in, like as part of the deal, instead of just a 2 for 2, 3 for 3, or whatever, if you can get an extra little asset, those come in handy. We use them daily, right, guys? Okay, let's move on to Phillip J. Fry. And thanks again, Irish Jedi. Phillip, my first name, actually, inbox offer. Okay, so give Hurts, get Jefferson. All right, here we go. So it is a 12-team Superflex PPR small tight end premium, so 1.5 for them. Start 10, 6 point per passing touchdown. Hurts, Mahomes, May, McCarthy at quarterback. NERB on a 53 at running back. Amon-Ra, Puka, Godwin, and then has Bowers and McBride at tight end. Has 325 firsts, claims one's early, one's mid, one's late. Tanked year 1, competing in 2025. Okay, so Scott, we'll start with you. It's a 12 by 10, very small tight end premium. You're giving Hurts, you're getting JJ.
I mean,
do you see yourself having the flexibility to do that? You currently have Hurts, Mahomes, May, and McCarthy. Are you comfortable giving Hurts and not getting a QB in return?
Yeah, because if you look at this roster, this team looks like it's got a lot of good assets. But Shane, does this look like the type of team this year that's winning the championship? If you have a big fat nothing at running back, are those the teams that look like the ones that are smashing this season?
No. Holy.
Now this team's good. This team
got
definitely has Amon-Ra, Puka, Bowers, McBride. I mean, you're okay with this roster, but it does feel like if you're truly looking to get the best deal possible, with one of your quarterback assets, there isn't a better player to get than Justin Jefferson. It might cost you Jalen Hurts, but like that is that the best you can do? Because if you get cute and then they pull the offer, you're now going, I'd rather trade Drake May. I'd rather trade Patrick Mahomes, but
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
This one's for Shane because you got 3 top 12 quarterbacks here and you have nothing at running back and you could use another asset at receiver. So, I mean,
wait, you're counting McCarthy as top 12?
No, it has Hurts, Mahomes, and May.
May,
right
Mahomes.
Yeah, Hurts, May. There's 2. I don't see the third top 12 quarterback.
Mahomes is the top 12.
Ooh, shots fired.
Fucking captain average. Too bad his ankle wasn't hurt worse. If I had
Let's
to
throw
make
it another
yeah.
If you couldn't tell, Shane does not like the Chiefs.
I hate the Chiefs.
As I think he said on the morning drive, they've sold their soul to win these champs. They've sold their soul to get to where they are. So
definitely. Yeah, I'd move Hurts for JJ, especially in this situation, because you do have the quarterback room that you could that could sustain this. No, that's not the word I'm looking for. That could take that hit. But also, you then still have the quarterback room. If you wanted to, you could go and try to trade up from Mahomes, a May. You know, you have McCarthy, May, Mahomes. You got 3 valuable assets that you can make moves with. So I would be okay with this deal. It's for a third back too.
Yeah, no, I'm good with it too because those 3 firsts. So the NERB issue, you can use one of them or 2 of them if you want to address running back. And then if you do trade away Hurts and don't get a QB in return, you've got a first to address that if you want or need to. And fingers crossed on McCarthy. Oh no, got a lot of McCarthy sitting on the IR, along with a million other players. Okay, thank you for that question, Phillip. What's up?
I have more about Michael Penix than I thought. I have him in 3 leagues, which is yeah. I have this is my favorite league, the OG league. I have Michael Penix and Bo Nix. They will be my starting quarterbacks next year.
Don't talk about that league. God. I was trying to repeat and got beat by what, 3 points or something like that. Anyway, shit happens. All right, let's keep moving here. Let's go to Sean W, who had a super chat from 1 p.m. Thank you very much. So, Shane, we'll start with you. This is a 12-team Superflex PPR 1.5 for the tight ends, start 10. We have Josh Allen, Kyler at quarterback, Brees and Achane at running back, Lamb, Nico, London, JSN, Marv, Reed, and Addison. And then has Brock, Pitts, and Andrews at tight end. Has the 106, 3 seconds, some thirds. Any moves to make? Shane's been shaking his head. Go ahead.
Sure. How do I upgrade from Kyler? You know, I'm a Kyler guy, but he's not been a needle mover. I don't know if he's going to be. Sure. But literally, there's nothing to do. Like, you can sell off some of your assets because you don't need Lamb, Nico, London, JSN, Marvin Harrison, Jaden Reed, and Jordan Addison. A couple Jordans. Can I move at least one of those wide receivers and get multiple first so I can keep this dynasty moving forward? That's probably my really only takeaway. There's not a lot to do. Sure, try to upgrade Kyler if you can, but also look to just move some of these receivers that you don't need. See if you can get multiple firsts for them.
Who's lying?
I didn't read it. I didn't read it on purpose.
I'm trying to figure out what line means. Does that mean, is it like, okay. I just, I wasn't
it's
sure.
Gotta be something. He wasted.
Is that a typo? He also has
characters.
Lamar Jackson or something like that. They just, I don't know. That couldn't
line.
tell what
No,
line
maybe he's an actor and he was like line, and then they fed him the script.
And then YouTube just spat it out.
Lineup league.
League.
You forgot the up part. Yeah.
Well,
I like it.
He's strapped for characters. No,
I
good
like
stuff.
it. I like it.
Thank you. Thank you, Shaw. Appreciate that. All right, let's keep on keeping on. Guys, we have to talk about Penix and Kirk Cousins. Hiya. Scott, start us off, man.
Real quick. Breaking news. We are the very first fantasy football podcast that's talking about this after it's happened.
Tweet it out.
Well, I will say the last couple of days, we've talked about this a lot internally in terms of, I don't have any inside connections, but I have a couple people that are, I wouldn't say they're they're as degenerate as we are from a dynasty standpoint, but they're very much like probably the two outside of, people from our community, the two people I talk football with most are both in Atlanta. And they've been texting me for weeks. The city hates Cousins. They hate what he stands for. They're done with him. Obviously he's played bad, right? But just some stuff where it's like, okay, yeah, Kirk Cousins is what he is. He's been the same thing for a while. He's not going to be an elite quarterback, especially asking him to be great off the rip. And you draft a top 10 quarterback right behind him to put pressure on him coming off a torn Achilles where he's expected to be back within 9 months and not miss a beat in a brand new offense, right? Like it was an uphill battle for him. But some of the stuff they're saying is like the fans are done with Cousins. If he's the starter next year, they will not care about the team, like indicting things to him. And so this randomly comes up, but like, if you look at some of the data, Kirk Cousins in the second half of the season is one of the bottom 8 quarterbacks in the league. Like the names, here's the names he's grouped with, Shane. Gardner Minshew, Will Levis, Desmond Ridder, Anthony Richardson, Drew Lock, Jameis Winston, and Cooper Rush. Like those are the names that are around Kirk Cousins. And a lot of those guys are either bad or backups, right? And Kirk Cousins has never been there. He's always been a tier above that. You know what I mean?
QB 11,
and so
12, yeah.
I mean, he's been a top 12 quarterback most of his career, mostly every season.
Well, just from an NFL standpoint, he's been at least average, slightly above league average. But you look at these numbers, I mean, these are NFL passing efficiency numbers. He's actively hurting the team. And so I'll just say, I mean, I think this is a very ballsy move by the Falcons, but one of the things the people I was texting with were saying was that Penix is very tied to the offensive coordinator who they do not want to lose. But if they're going to fire the coach and basically blame everything on Raheem Morris and say, like, we need to clean house, you're probably going to lose the OC, which is the one that drafted Penix or wanted Penix in the first place. Like, you have to see what you have. You know what I mean? Like, you can't give Cousins the entire season and then make it a question into the offseason. So this came out of nowhere, but well, you didn't think it would happen right now, Shane, but I think this signifies like this is it for Cousins, right? He's done. You can't go back to him after this. You can't.
Well, you can. Look, we've said this year, you can't go back to Bryce Young. You can't go back to Anthony Richardson.
Different situation.
I'm just saying, we always say you can't. And NFL teams go, we're a prisoner of the moment. We're going to put him back in if we think so. If Penix gets in there and just drops his dick in the dirt and is awful, yeah, Kirk Cousins will be back in there. You can count on
Kirk Cousins has been doing. Someone asked in the chat, do you trust starting the Falcons players with Michael Penix? Dude, they all sucked with Kirk Cousins for the last month. So, I mean, like there wasn't, what's the downgrade? Penix can suck and lose and not produce anything on offense. What's the downgrade? You know what I mean?
Should have less interceptions.
You can picture the lefty. You can picture the lefty bomb throw.
Well, here's the other thing. Cousins' contract, it isn't a contract where you just escape it this year. Like, I'm asking you, Shane, is this a signal that they are planning to eat the Cousins contract going forward and just move on? Because someone said he's going to start next year, but I mean, it's what's the dead cap if they cut him prior to the trade deadline? It's pretty sick. It's not Russell Wilson, but it's not nothing. So I don't know.
Yeah, and then Flon's open up point. Maybe Cousins waives the no trade. He's not going to want to be there. He's not going to want to sit behind a rookie. I mean, he's already said as much. So assuming Penix comes in here and he's any good, if there's any reason for hope, there's no way they're bringing Kirk Cousins back. And Raheem Morris, the only reason I say this doesn't come out of nowhere is I've been listening to or reading his pressers every week. And every week, it's less decisive how much he's behind Kirk Cousins. It was originally like, well, Kirk Cousins isn't the problem. Then it's like, well, everybody has to play better. We're not ready to make a move yet. And then today, like, we got to look at everything, but our quarterback was ass, translate it. So you saw it coming. Because Cousins he went on a 0 touchdown, 8 interception streak. Like, that's impressively bad. And then he went out there last night against a garbage defense, a garbage team that has no reason. Like, you have to blow them out of the box. Like, that's a game you should be up 17-0 after the first quarter, and they barely held on to win against Desmond fucking Ritter. So Cousins is washed for this year. Let's see how he looks next year in a Raider uniform, in a New Orleans uniform, although they just went through the retread old white guy. I don't know if they're going to want to do that again, but there'll be a job for him out there somewhere.
The Giants.
Well, no, they're going to have the two, right?
Go against the Commandos.
We'll see.
Awesome.
I mean,
the Browns.
Look,
the Browns are apparently going to go back to Watson. That's what they're saying.
Yeah. Once Shador and Cam are off the board, it's anybody's game. And I'm sure there's some other quarterback that's going to jump up there. I thought it was going to be Drew Olave, but he decided to stay in school like a loser. Who stays in school? Be a quitter. Come on. Anyway, once those two are off the board, every team's in play for Kirk Cousins after that,
Yep.
Do you view the weapons? Let me just ask for a dynasty question. Do you view the weapons right now, Shane? Are you any more interested in because there's a world where Penix comes out, and even if Penix isn't better than Cousins, he's better for everybody else. You know what I mean? Just what he does creates more fantasy points than what you've got from any of these Falcons guys ever in their career. Are you more interested in somebody like Kyle Pitts now?
I'm not falling for that. No.
But what if Penix comes out and is exciting, and he just happens, Pitts goes 7 for 70 in the first game? The dynasty community in the offseason might be going, man, Kyle Pitts is back. The asset Kyle Pitts just got a lot more intriguing if Penix comes out and flashes for a game or two, right?
And I will trade him off my roster.
I agree.
I'm not getting kicked in the dick again by that guy. He's done enough dick kicking. I'm not falling for it anymore. I need a full year of great play for me to go, you know what? I think I might be buying in on him.
I'm in the market for a good dick kicking. Why don't you see if you have any Pitts in leagues that we're in together? We'll see here.
Well, do you think it's too late to get Pitts now, Clay? The dynasty community, when they see news like this, they immediately attach some extra value to Pitts now because it's a new quarterback taking over?
Yes, it's like, if you're selling, you're not trying to make an offer for Pitts right now, and if you're trying to buy him, you're not making an offer right now. And if you try to buy him, you should realize that you're going to have to tack on a little bit of a tax after what's going on. A little bit of a hype tax, little hype bump.
Njoku or Pitts?
Pitts. If I'm there.
Njoku.
What do you think on that? What do you think on that, Scott? If you're down,
Shane, what if I told you next year Deshaun Watson's the starter?
Njoku eats no matter what. It's the rest of the Browns that you have to worry about if Deshaun's there. Besides your masseuses, it's the rest of the Browns' offensive skill players that Watson is danger to.
So you're not even thinking twice. If someone would send you would send your healthy Kyle Pitts right now for an injured David Njoku. Don't even care.
If I had Kyle Pitts on the roster where I just traded you Njoku, I would be offering you Kyle Pitts for Njoku right now. It's a little bit different, obviously, but yeah. Njoku or Pitts if Njoku is out this week. I mean, I don't know. Where's Brenton Strange? I'll give you a third. I'll give you 3 thirds for Brenton Strange.
That name makes Scott want to throw.
Yeah, I know. I was listening to
after what we talked about last night. We've recorded some shorts. That'll be good. No, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I can't cross that Rubicon with Pitts anymore, man.
Yeah.
I'm not there anymore. He gone.
What did you get kicked in the dick? I think this is a good time to mention that we are on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well. So make sure to follow over there. The links are in the description. Definitely seen a bunch of people join, and Spotify is so much better than the Apple Pod. Not only just for listening to podcasts, but the interface for the creators. It's not even close. It's not even close. So after these streams, I'm going to upload it all onto Spotify and Apple Pod as well. So it'll be sitting there in the morning for you if you want to hit it twice or for the first time.
And download Overcast. That's even better to
Overcast is awesome. I haven't used it in a while though.
Dude, you can listen on 3.7 speed.
Gross.
And it is just I can get the entire episode of Trades in 5 in 18 minutes. It's crazy.
Absolutely not.
Okay,
Absolutely.
Let's see here. All right, let's keep going. We are going to go to a super that we have down here from Joshua. Thank you very much. So, Scott, what are you doing with my roster in the offseason? I'm in the semifinals right now. It's a single QB, half PPR. We don't know the number of starters, but we got to assume it's like 9 probably. So let's say it is a 10-team, 1 QB, start 9, half PPR, super shallow. Kyler Darnold at QB, Bijan, Mixon, Ford, Guerrero at running back. Then at wide receiver, you got Marv, AJ Brown, DK, Judy, London, and Rashad. That's all I see right here. Shane, do we have another? No, we might not. That's it. What are you doing with this roster in the offseason is the question from Joshua Scott.
Well, let's just go with what we say, start 9.
Yes,
okay, so it's
correct.
a 1 QB, start 9. I assume we'll go 10-team or 12-team. I mean,
let's go 10 by 9, half PPR.
Josh, if you're in here, just throw in some additional factoids.
Yeah, how many teams, how many starters? Because that does change the math a little bit. But let's just so it's 10 by 9. Where are the advantages here, Shane? Not at quarterback.
Bijan, 12 team, 1 QB, half PPR.
AJ Brown. And then asset wise, maybe Marv probably gets you Drake London and Marv gets you to maybe another tier if you want to give those guys up. But I mean,
okay, here we go. Hold on. It says 3, 5, 6, 8. 12 team, 1 QB, half PPR, start 8. Thank you, Joshua.
I just can't imagine that there's much you can do. And it goes back to something I've talked about for years. When you have super shallow leagues like this, even guys like Isaac Guerendo or Jerome Ford, they're usable in a pinch. I'd probably keep those types more so because if I ever need a starter, in a flex, it's probably going to come at running back. But even so, you have guys like Jerry Jeudy, like Rashad Bateman.
Mm-hmm.
Rashad Bateman's not a starter, so you almost what is he worth, Shane? If you could get a third and just get something newer, fresher, give me the 2% chance that I hit on a better player than some of those guys. I'm just kind of looking at a shallow league like this. I'm going to keep the 3 or 4 core pieces I have. Everything else has a price. And I'll, if I have to start Rashad Bateman, am I starting anything other than a replacement level receiver anyway? So it's almost take the pieces that are not locked in starters and get what you can for them. And just, worst case scenario, you have to throw in your worst player on your bench in your last starting spot. And it's probably a guy like Guerendo or Ford, and you just live with whatever the result is. And if you have a bunch of those guys, you should have 1 or 2 every week. That's no different than Jerry Jeudy if he doesn't have Winston, or, even Joe Mixon is good this year, but in a shallow league like this, I'm guessing he has more value in this league. Could you get 2 firsts for Joe Mixon in a shallow 1 QB like this?
You should be able to. The amount of points that he scores, you should be able to.
Yeah. And in this format, yes. Specifically to this format,
right.
yes.
Yeah. All right, rock on. Let's keep moving. Thank you very much, Joshua. Appreciate it.
You also had Kittle. So that is
another
another asset. Very good asset.
That is a strong asset. That is a difference-making asset in that shallow format. Okay, let's keep going here. Let's go to another starred one from N_D. Just was going through the process, setting up an account, and was you know what? I'm going to be ND. It's a short meeting. Okay, so 1 of 2, 12-team Superflex, 1.75 for the tight end, start 10. Scott, you're paying attention more than Shane is.
No, 100% paying attention.
Always.
Mm-hmm.
On the last show we just dropped today, you were wearing your glasses, so we could see the reflection, and I was like, "What is it? What is it?" It's like a green screen. Yeah, I don't know.
I was dialed in, baby.
You were always dialed in. God, my hat is so bulked up under here. Okay. So this is a 12-team Superflex, 1.75 for the tight end, start 10. You have Lamar, Stafford at quarterback, Monty, Aaron Jones, Rico, and then Puka, Garrett Wilson, Jacoby Myers, Jennings, Aiyuk, and Allen at wide receiver, Kelsey and Mandrews at tight end. I have all my picks plus an extra 25 second. I'm looking to upgrade at running back. I'm thinking of making a big move for Gibbs since I lost Monty. What's a reasonable offer? Should I bargain shop instead? Maybe someone like Connor, or just roll with my squad as is. So 12 by 10, Scott, tight end premium for sure. What are you doing with this team?
So is this for right now or
Yeah,
just
yeah.
in general,
it's
or
just lost Monty. Thinking about making a big move for Gibbs. What's a reasonable offer?
well, is this for this week? Like I
Yeah.
care
Right.
about okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because I mean, yeah, if the problem that I've found is that most likely the team that has James Conner is still in it as well,
Yeah.
or they've already traded him. So yeah, sure. If you can get James Conner versus what Jahmyr Gibbs is going to cost you, I'd rather have Gibbs straight up, but I'd much rather have Conner at his price. But the problem is finding the manager that has Conner. Are they actually a seller? Most leagues, Conner is literally on the team that just advanced
Yeah.
to play you, probably. You know what I mean? Like if you're still in the playoffs, that's probably your opponent that has James Conner. So yeah, I mean, you need to upgrade running back, but really all you need is what? This is start 10. You just need another running back, another guy.
Jerome Board keeps coming
think
up,
there's-
obviously.
Well, no, I think there's a lot of options that you could probably throw in there and say, I can live with that player. If they get me 10 points, it sucks. If they give me 23 points, then great. You know what I mean? But I don't think you have to go get Gibbs. But just to humor him, I mean, what could you even get Gibbs with, Shane? Because you're trying to buy him. Here's the thing. You're the Monty manager that's now trying to buy Gibbs. They're going to see that and be like, you're paying
They're gonna stick
50%
it
more
to
than
you,
you
yeah.
would have last week. And so here, Shane, I'll give you, I want a first. I'll give you Puka Nacua and a first for Gibbs.
Puka Nacua and a first.
That's what the Gibbs
Yeah.
manager wants. Are you doing it
Yeah.
if you're this team?
No. And I've got some of those outrageous trade requests. So no.
But what can you send Gibbs off this roster that doesn't cripple it for the playoffs to get
Nothing.
Gibbs?
You got to give up
Aiyuk,
Puka.
no Puka.
Aiyuk's not helping.
It has to.
I mean,
has to
there's nothing.
involve
There's
big
literally
names. Yeah.
Would you
Garrett
do
Wilson.
Garrett Wilson in a first?
Yes.
You'd
That's
give
the
that
problem.
for
The
Gibbs.
problem is Garrett Wilson's your second best receiver. You're starting him, right?
I'm also going to ask for something back with that as well, too, though.
But
Yeah.
okay. Pivoting. Is there anything he can send that doesn't impact his lineup to win that the other person would accept for Gibbs?
Garrett
Probably
Wilson.
not, right?
Garrett Wilson.
No, you can't. You can't buy Gibbs. You can't buy Gibbs with this team. At least if I'm the Gibbs owner, I'm going to damage your roster.
How about
too much.
this?
It's not going to be worth it.
Would Monty, Aiyuk, and 2 firsts get me Gibbs?
Monty, Aiyuk,
Two first?
2
Yes.
firsts.
Yes.
My
So you're
25 and my
25
26.
and 26.
Yeah, that'd do it.
Like that's the kind of offer that if you made, that is as big a move you could make. You have no flexibility to make any other trades, but you put Gibbs on this team along with Puka and Wilson and Lamar. I mean, you're making a run, and if it doesn't work out, you're gonna go. Ugh.
What can I sell?
I don't like it though, because then you leave yourself like in big trouble. You've got
Correct.
Lamar and Stafford, and then you don't have firsts until 27, and your only assets that you could liquidate for value that are active live assets are Puka and then Gibbs, whom you just acquired. So
You'd say there is no Gibbs offer that you can really make here, right?
No,
You don't
I
have
think-
enough.
No, I don't think it would get done. I don't think it would get done. That's just what I'm
If
thinking.
you could give up Garrett Wilson and a 27 first, do that for Gibbs.
Oh yeah.
27 first.
I've seen 27 first picks get moved, man.
Yeah.
I saw Clay make a move with a 27 pick, so I decided it's now a live asset and it's included in my trade offers. So
Yeah, in the squirt league. What I made it past. I beat MJ. RIP MJ.
she's not even paying
Apologies.
attention. Sent her 3
No.
offers. I keep modifying them just so they'll ding her. Nothing. Anyway,
Shane,
Yeah,
would you give
so-
up Aiyuk in a second for Connor without question?
yes,
Aiyuk
absolutely.
in a second for Connor.
without a doubt. Like not even a thought. Like I smash that. Smash.
I'm just the problem
You could
with
see-
trying
you
to
could
trade
see
for
both sides there. Yeah.
well, the problem trying to trade with Connor is, and this is what I've talked about for the last couple weeks. Picture where we are right now. Right? Shane didn't even think for more than half a second would he give up Aiyuk in a second for Connor. It's like, holy shit, yes, right?
Mm-hmm.
The biggest power position right now is to somehow, and I don't have many teams like this, so I'm not really speaking from a place of I'm doing it, but how great would it be if you have a team in the Final Four that can be willing just to liquidate James Conner? Like, hey, I'm selling him to
What a
the team I'm
luxury.
playing. I'm going to get the equivalent of like a first for James Conner. And then I'm going to face the team that just traded for him and beat them next week. Like that is truly a power position that you only have because it's the semifinals and because people are looking at their rosters and going like, oh my God, I can get James Conner. I can get Aaron Jones. I can get Joe Mixon. Like I want that guy right now. And if they lose in a week, they're going to go, I don't really want James Conner. What can I move him for? But there's nothing at that point you can do. But how great can it be if you're the seller? But most sellers that have, most sellers don't have James Conner. They just don't.
Yeah, I'm absolutely not doing that. We talked about this last night. I'm not tempted fate that way.
What if it's a guy that you're benching, Shane, like in a 2 PPR where you're benching the equivalent of a Brenton Strange type? And you kind of want to start him, but like you can't start him over James Conner, but someone's tendering a first for James Conner. And you're like, well, I could then just start Hunter Henry instead. You wouldn't do that?
For Brenton, if I'm giving up Brenton Strange, it's a little different than giving up.
You have a guy like a Hunter Henry or Brenton Strange on your bench, and you're not starting him over Conner, but your opponent will give you a 26 first for Conner, and then you just slide in Brenton Strange in your flex. Are you doing that?
So I'm giving up somewhere in the neighborhood of
no, we're getting too cute here.
Clay, are you doing that? If you have a suitable starter,
I'm not giving Conner for risking that.
Okay,
that's
no way. Just because it's not worth it. This not right now.
Now, can I go trade for Conner with that first, then go to some of the loser teams and see if I can get another running back for a second? Can I do that? So what's the trade activity in my league? Is that something
you can get a first for James Conner and then you pay a second and a third for Jerome Ford? You doing that?
No, we're done. Doing that. Absolutely.
All I'm doing is putting it out there that there are situations, especially some of you in there that are playing in a start 9 or a start 10, that you could maybe do this.
Yes.
You could go, you know what? I really don't want to trade Derrick Henry, but what if I get a first and then I go replace him with this guy and I still have a very similar chance of winning my matchup? Now, if Derrick Henry scores 38 points and you lose, you're going to kick yourself. But
right.
I don't know. I would like to be in a position where I can be a seller when nobody else anticipates that there's going to be a sale. And that's usually one of the teams that's alive that's willing to sell a running back.
It's just scary trading to someone that you could eventually face. Hopefully I'm selling to someone that's a prohibitive underdog and somehow just lucked in the week 1 of the playoffs. And you could tell there's no way this team's winning the next week, although you can never tell that in fantasy. So,
okay. Well, what if you're the 35-65 underdog and the guy you are hoping has a huge game is Derrick Henry? Are you doing it then?
He's gone.
Okay.
I'm capitulating. I'm realizing where I stand, what my strat is.
Let me ask you this. Let's move on to this question. Because I imagine there's some other people who run into this. So you're trying to make a trade. Let's say you just got knocked out. Okay. And you happen to have let's say you happen to have like an Aaron Jones that you're going to sell. But what you want on the other person's team is like a Keon Coleman type. And the person who wants Aaron Jones doesn't necessarily want to package in whatever, likes Keon Coleman, sees that there's potentially some value, bump in the future for him. See what I'm getting at? A player you like.
Dude, 100%. I've already been in this situation where I try to trade you the player that's old, right? And I am looking for something because you probably don't have a first, right? Yep. So you're probably like, what can I trade you? And I'm trying to help you by saying, okay, what will you trade me that you may not be locking into your lineup for the next week or two? And it probably is a guy like Keon Coleman or Xavier Legette or something like that where, okay, yeah, it's not a first, but if you can give me Legette and another Blake Corum or something like that, there's a world where I can have those guys as assets in a couple months when the James Conner or Aaron Jones is going to be not desirable. Too many people, Clay, go, well, I can't give up Keon Coleman. Then I go, okay, well, are you starting Keon Coleman this week? Or are you trying to trade for Aaron Jones so you can put him in the spot that you're currently starting Keon Coleman? And it's, I don't really feel confident starting Coleman. Well,
he's one of those hang up players. Shane, do you have any thoughts on this? Like the Keon Colemans of the world when you're trying to get them slinging old running backs?
slinging. Yes, I would like to do that, please. I
Shane-
remember
Shane would have done that deal. Shane does not get hung up on the, and we talk about this all the time. Shane doesn't get hung up on the, Keon Coleman has this mythical future upside. Like if it gets me 2 weeks of James Conner, 23 touches a game, he gone.
Yeah.
Don't care.
And I like Keon Coleman. I actually like Keon Coleman a lot. I think he's a lot better than people gave him credit for at the beginning of the year because he had a low ADOT or whatever the hell was wrong with him. But I think he's shown that he's probably the wide receiver 1 on that roster right now. No, not Keon Coleman. I'm sorry. Khalil Shakir. Sorry. Keon Coleman's fucking gone. Like without a thought. I'm sorry. I was thinking of Khalil Shakir.
Shakir is
fuck
nice.
Keon Coleman. He's gone. You want 2 of Keon Coleman's? I'll draft another one next year and you can have him too.
What was it again? Dick kick. Dick kick is that's gotta have some legs.
All right, I got a live trade. I got to throw to you guys.
Oh yeah, let's go.
I'm getting hassled
in a little while too. It's been an arms race out there.
Yeah. So this is the long and short of it. So this is a huge buy-in league. It's our destination chill league, Clay.
Oh,
and the team that just lost has Saquon and Tyreek Hill, and he's already made some moves to rebuild. And so we're running into the same situation where that's a start 12. I'm trying to add starters, right? But what he wants is guys I'm starting plus all my firsts for like 1 or 2 assets. You know what I mean? And so like, I'm kind of like, it's hard for me to trade 3 starters and 2 firsts to get 2 players. I get it. They're upgrades, but like I'm struggling throwing in the 3 starters and all the picks just to get 3 pieces back or 2 pieces back. You know what I mean? So
that's a tough league.
Here it is. League. I get Saquon Barkley and Tyreek Hill. I give back a 26 first, which is probably I'd say a chance of being a non-playoff. I gave up Jaden Reed and Zay Flowers. And in a start 12, I'm probably starting those guys.
Yes.
Just hoping that one of them has the 25-point game. Most likely they're both going to have 10 points, but
you're gonna have to pay $500 if you make that trade to pay for.
It's somebody else's first, so I can avoid having to pay somebody else. Right. It's not my own first, so I'm not betting against my own team. But it's an anti-leverage deal. But I'm giving up Flowers, Reed, in the 26 first. I'm getting Tyreek and Saquon, which I'm betting that those guys are hammers
playing this week.
The Dolphins have the Niners.
Where at?
I believe it is in San Fran. Yeah, I believe it's in San Fran. Correct me if I'm wrong, anybody in the chat, but I believe it's in San Fran. No, it's in Miami. My bad. It's in Miami. But it's a must-win game for both. They're both mathematically eliminated if they lose.
I know that league. So, yeah.
And Waddle's not around. So, I mean, if there's a...
Giddy up, baby. I would do it. I'm in that league with you, but
I wanted a second back, and he says remove the second. I'll probably do it. So, you guys would just do it? Give up that extra first? Don't care?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a big buy-in league. First of all, there's 2 weeks left in the season. Second of all, thirdly, what's that guy's name? Saquon, guaranteed he'll be a starter next year, right? Tyreek Hill, I'm assuming he's starting next year as well. It sucks giving up the trade. The pick is obviously because I never like giving up picks, but if I'm going to give up picks, this is when I'm doing it. And
I get to pick my opponent, Shane. My opponent. I already picked my opponent, and so my opponent just make a huge move, and so I have to counter. My opponent lost his QB2, and he just traded for Mason Rudolph, so I need to make a big move.
Big.
I saw that it's like Mason Rudolph in a 4th for a 3rd or something. Isn't that what it was?
I mean,
yeah, a big leverage deal at a start 12 though. It's like kind of relevant. Okay, let's keep moving. So Brian Hund from the chat earlier, this was at 1:30 p.m. We're going to get to, let's start speeding it up a little bit. 9:22. We have 197 eyeballs watching us. They've already hit that like. Everybody is subscribed. Who's listening to me say subscribed right now. Everybody has already hit that button and the notification bell on top of that, Shane. So Brian's got an inbox offer for us. It's a 12-team Superflex PPR start 10. Shane, you are giving Olave, Flowers, and Hollywood. You're getting Nico and Hawkinson. I'm in the semifinals, hoping to win back-to-back titles. Love you guys. Appreciate it, Brian. Good luck. What are you doing, Shane?
So I would like to just remind people, the rules. If you're going to brag, you got to pay to brag. The fuck out of here. Obviously, I'm doing this. Olave, Flowers, Hollywood Brown. Like, all right, what else do I have just laying around? Do I have any other wide receivers missing ligaments, tendons, whatever? They're yours. You can have them, dude. Yeah, this is. I can't even fathom what the person on the other side is thinking just for Nico. And then they're like, sure, here's this top 5 dynasty tight end. You want him too? Dude, you want.
This is someone who doesn't understand format.
Or football.
You know, if the or football or modern medicine. Well, no, I mean, go ahead, Scott.
Now you're getting what you're getting here is this somebody that still is viewing Dynasty from 3 years ago, and they're still loving that Chris Olave rookie year target share. Going, man, they're probably in their head going, oh, Nico's not that far of a downgrade to Chris Olave. I mean, that's and they're getting Zay Flowers, who's another young receiver that's probably a wide receiver 2 at best for his career.
I love Zay Flowers, but
look where he's at, like scoring per game. Now, obviously, he's just a boom bust type of player. That's what he's going to be. But nah, dude, this isn't even close. You're getting a top. I don't even know. I don't want to put numbers on them, but an elite wide receiver in the elite tier, and then a top 5 dynasty tight end.
And Shane's flipped on Olave. Shane wants to buy some more Olave, but if you're getting this type of credit for Olave and you still have him, then it's like goodbye.
Yeah. Yep.
Would you? Okay. So how gross are we getting? How gross are we getting here, Shane? You need a running back. You need one of the Jerome Fords of the world. Are you trading Chris Olave for Jerome Ford and you're getting a 26th third?
I just want to tell you about a trade me. This just reminds me of a trade me and Scott made literally last night where I added something, I forget, and then he took like originally the trade included Debo for Jerome Ford. And I added something to the side. And
you sent me Debo. I sent you Jerome Ford for Debo in a third.
Right.
I wanted the extra third. Always ask for a third, right? Shane counters with Debo for Jerome Ford, and I'm like, well, fuck, I don't really care. But then I countered and took Derek Carr instead. It's like, that's how little I value Debo. Like, I took Derek Carr in the third.
I'd take Carr for sure.
It's I could maybe use a quarterback probably more than Debo. To me, Debo is a.
Look at Shane. Oh, he was stuck in his mouth open, ready for service. Go ahead, Scott.
Well, no, I was just going to say the fact that I countered with Derek Carr over Debo, I messaged Shane. I was like, this actually makes me realize I value Derek Carr ahead of Debo. That's how low he's gotten.
100% cracked me up. But anyway, what are we talking about? Olave for Ford? Yeah, Olave can go. So, and I know people might think I'm being flippant with this.
That's crazy, man.
I'm looking at my roster and I'm going, can I afford to give up a mid to low end wide receiver 2 at best? Probably I can do that, assuming based on the fact that I'm still going for a title. I don't love it, obviously, right? But if that's what it takes to get it done, I'm going to look elsewhere. Sure. Can I get James Conner? Can I get other running backs, Chase Brown, all the other guys? I'll go down the list until we get to Jerome Ford. And then you know what? It's 3 a.m. The bar is closing. I'm going home with whatever's coming back with me. It's just how it's going.
Would you rather give a second straight up for Ford or do the Olave for Ford in a third? What? Because I think a lot of people, you'd rather just give the pick and keep Olave.
Yeah.
Okay.
Olave's still in that kind of a first. I think I could get a first for him depending on who I'm making the deal with, or at least he's close enough in that value. If I add something to him, I can get that.
All right, so Scott, here comes a 10-team. Thank you very much, War Rocket 99 for the $20 super chat. Appreciate it. So 10-team super flex, start 11. It's a start 2 tight end with a small tight end premium. Okay, so it's 10-team super flex, PPR 1.5 for the tight ends, but you're starting 2 of them, starting 11 total. Okay, you've got Kirk Cousins, Goff, Geno, and Penix at quarterback. Bijan and Brees at running back. Bijan, Brees, and Stevenson at running back. Chase, CD, DK, Devonta Smith, and Waddle at wide receiver. Andrews and Laporta at tight ends. I have a late 25 first, no 26 first. What moves do I need to do to continue dominating my league? First, what were you laughing about? And then second, you're up.
Well, I appreciate the super chat, War Rocket. Little things make me laugh. The fact that we wrote out Bijan Robinson, the full first and last name, but
that's
then
why it screwed me up.
everybody
That's why it
else.
screwed me up so badly. Yeah.
It's like we didn't even say Brees. We just said Hall, Kirk, and then we wrote out Bijan Robinson. Like
Bijan Robinson.
Yeah, it's just funny the way that his brain probably came up with putting that out there. Just cracked me up. But back to the question. I mean, it's a 10, two tight end, start 11. I mean, it's still a 10-teamer. So as much as you hate it, I actually don't hate a QB room like this, because this is probably the QB room where you have like moved off of a higher end QB. If it's not like a Josh Allen or a Lamar, like moving off of a CJ Stroud or someone like that, just on their value was the right move on a 10-teamer like this, because everybody's going to have a Goff or a Geno level QB. So you just, hopefully you started the right ones at the right times. What do we need to do to continue to dominate? I mean, I don't know. What can you trade here that makes you feel like I can push my roster forward, keeping the competitive-ish nature that it has right now? What is a good value to liquidate on this team? Because the foundation is fine, right? Bijan, Brees, Chase, CD, right there.
Devonta Smith. The problem is I was looking at DK, and this was killing me earlier and the past few weeks when I see that DK on Sleeper and whatever format this was projected to score 16 points. And here's Devonta Smith was, last week projected to score 12 or something. Mm-hmm. I don't know why DK keeps getting projected up so much. So what I'm getting at is he's not
range of they're not what their names are. You know what I mean?
No. So Devonta Smith, that's why I said him, because I think he actually, is more likely to be able to have a conversation with than DK Metcalf.
So. I don't know. I think it's honestly Waddle or DK. Even if I have to go out a year, I think that's the guy I'd be willing to take a first for. And just
I'm selling all three of them. Devontae, Waddle.
Shane has no time if you're not in the upper echelon. No time, right?
Yeah. What do I give a fuck? I mean, Waddle's a wide receiver too.
Because it's War Rockets roster, Shane. He gives a fuck.
No. I'm saying, this is how I feel. Devonta Smith, wide receiver too. Like, these are all interchangeable parts. Can I move Devonta Smith for Jacoby Myers in a first? If I could get that off someone, I would come all over myself. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care. Like, their names don't matter to me. Waddle
because for War Rocket.
Yeah, War Rocket. Waddle for, I don't know who else is in Jacoby Myers' world.
Is Bateman in there now?
No, Bateman's not there. He's getting there apparently, but he's not there yet.
Without actually laying out the strategy, Shane, you actually kind of covered exactly what I talked about in the wide receiver construction episode that I just released this past week. Is like, if you have guys like Chase and CD, that is covering. You're expecting that is covering every week or even across the course of a season. That's covering what, 20% above what everybody else's starting lineup spot is giving them. So you can kind of afford to tier off of the dynasty value of Devonta Smith or Jalen Waddle or DK Metcalf for next year's. And the tricky part about it, Shane, is you may not know who next year's Jacoby Myers or Darnell Mooney or Cortland Sutton is quite yet. Like, you can guess, but there's going to be one or two or three that emerge early on in the year, and you go, that guy's going to have a role and it's not going to go away. Like Mooney, right? You knew he was the wide receiver 2 right away in an offense that you thought would be decent. So like, you could have bought into that in week 2, week 3, and got him way cheaper than when he produced for 6 straight games. And it's okay, now everybody that has him wants at least a second. I think you can use those 2 spots, especially if you have the hammers with like Chase and CD at the top. Your wide receiver 3, flex 1, and flex 2 doesn't matter. As long as it's not 5, if it's 11, I don't need 14 from Devonta Smith. If I'm getting 11 for a Jacoby Myers and I got back a 26 first, all 3 of those receivers in that range can go, because my team's going to be better off. Because what do I have? I have 3 extra firsts in case one of those guys I picked was wrong. Guess who I can go buy? This year's version of Tyreek or Mike Evans. If I really wanted to spend one of those firsts, it's almost a sunk cost because I already got the deal done where I tiered off of one of those guys for the first and another player. If you can do it, if you can do that.
Shane, we're going to move on to a question from Brandon Cassidy. Thank you very much. So this is a fairly deep format. This is a good format. 12-team Superflex PPR. It's 2.0 for the tight ends, 6 point per passing touchdown, and it's a 0.2 PPC. So every rush attempt is 0.2. Question is, am I crazy if I start Jonnu Smith in the Superflex over Justin Herbert? Others starting Bowers and Kittle also.
I feel like I've seen this question before.
Yeah, my flexes. I feel like he might have like pasted this into the YouTube comments too or something, but my flexes are Jacobs, Aaron Jones, Kittle. Probably should just be trying to trade someone, but also don't want to make another playoff team better. Okay, so a pretty deep format here. Big tight end premium. Are you starting Jonnu over Justin Herbert and Superflex? Do you have the stones to do that?
One, that's not where my mind goes anyway. My mind goes, wait, can I trade Kittle to someone else? Obviously not a player a team that's in the playoffs, but Kittle's still a valuable asset because he's old, but he's a tight end and they live forever. So that'd be my first thought. My second thought, boy, I should, but I don't have the balls to do it. I mean, look at Jonnu scoring over the last, 2 months.
No, I'm with you.
He's probably
Jonnu has to start.
He's probably
outscoring Herbert. Yeah,
Jonnu has to start
last week easily, right? And
Jonnu
even a bad week, the week before when he scored a touchdown in overtime, which was a bad week for him. I bet he still outscored Herbert. Yeah, dude. Look, just pretend. Don't
do
look
the math
at
on this format. Do the math on the format, dude. 2.0 for the tight ends.
Or he says 2.0. Oh yeah, 2.0 the tight end premium. Yeah, I'm doing it. Look, it'd be different if Jonnu only did this for 3 games. He's literally done this for the entirety of the season, except for like the first 2 weeks. Like, this
can you still trade?
Yeah, I think so Brandon can. That's the thing. If you're in this situation in the first place, you've got a construction issue. Go ahead, Scott.
Well, no. If you can still trade though, what I'm not doing historically in a start 11, all 9 of your skill players are not going to outscore the quarterback. Now, you may be able to say all of them are projected to outscore the quarterback, but 1 or 2 of them is just not going to. Unless it's a quarterback, that just has an awful game and they don't give you anything. But even a quarterback 2 in this format is going to give you 16 points.
It's a 6-point,
14 points. Like, they're not going to give you 3. I mean, Will Levis, Jameis Winston, like, you can have those games where they get benched or they get injured. But if you can still trade, I'm starting Jonnu, but I'm with Shane. Can I make a corresponding move where I go sell another starter? I don't want to leave a guy like Herbert on my bench. You know what I mean? Can I sell George Kittle? Can I sell George Kittle for a first?
Right.
You better get at least that in that. I gotta
be honest, I don't want to start. I don't want to start Herbert over George Kittle either. I know that the floor for George Kittle,
but pick a starter, Shane, that you are starting, and don't leave the Herbert points on the bench if you think Herbert can get you 16, 17 points. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like if Herbert, as the way I'm looking at this, is one of my last 2 starters, cool. But Jonnu and George Kittle aren't my last 2 starters. So, yeah, the more we talk this through, I'm starting them. And, yeah, it could blow up in your face. But
well, he didn't list all the starters, though, did he? He didn't list everybody.
I didn't start.
He listed the flexes, but he didn't list all the stars. I'm curious who else we're starting. I mean, I guess the point is, if it's just a lineup where literally Jonnu and George Kittle are your 2 worst starters, you should have something you can move, right? That means you got a lot of high-end players that you're probably starting.
Yeah. No, for sure. Let's see here. Let's keep moving. We've got like 25 minutes left. Up here on the screen. Yeah, it's from Katie Inwood. Says, I traded a projected mid-late second and a mid to late third for Connor 10 minutes before playoff game, and it won me my playoff match. Hell yeah. Cheers to that. Oh, beautiful. that makes it feel good, right? What did he drop, a 30 burger? At least he did in like the formats I was looking at. Yeah.
And Trey Benson is broken. I think is the official designation. Just broken. Yeah.
Yeah. I was looking back at some teams, and there was a couple of them where I had like 25% of them got injured. The starting roster. Like the starting roster, 3 or 4 injured players on there. It's like fantastic. Got a lot of Monty. Okay, let's go to Alex Cullen. Thank you for the question. Hey guys, missed out on the playoffs and a heartbreaker and have some guys in very good form. And he lists Dowdle, Shakir, and Jonnu, but who aren't exactly hammers long term. What are you doing with these types? And he says, do you think you should sell for any decent offer, or are these guys worth holding if you're being lowballed? Just wondering if there's a window or opportunity to try and sell. I'm sorry, to try and send as finalists. Thanks, Alex.
Semifinalists.
Yeah.
Semifinalists. Yeah.
That's on me at this time of night. Yeah. Okay.
I'm not. I would not be upset if I went into next season with Dowdle, Jonnu Smith, and not Keon Coleman, but clear Shakir still on my roster. No, that doesn't mean I'm not going to try to move heaven and earth and send out like I did in Squirt League, where I have 10 trades outstanding, 10 trade offers outstanding. There's only a 12-team league, and only you can do the math. Anyway, I'm going to try. You know what I mean? I'm going to be like, all right, here, you want all three of them? Here's Jonnu, Dowdle, and Shakir. What injured wide receiver do you have? And can I get your first and a second? Not your first this year. Can I get your 26 first? Which I know is delayed gratification, but at least it's got a better shot than being the 108 through 112. But I'm not, if the offer is, here's a second, was it a tight end premium?
No.
I think I'd rather hold on to Dowdle for a second. I like Dowdle a whole lot.
Really? There's a players over process for you. No, I'm kidding. No.
The issue with Dowdle is he's a free agent. He's not going to be back in Dallas, so you got to bank on him finding a place that he can go. Because he's a free agent. He just had his best year. I mean, yeah, if they pay him, but the point is, I think you're right. Someone just offered me Rico Dowdle 5 minutes ago. I got an offer while we're live on stream.
There you go.
They give me Rico. I'm in the semis. They give me Rico Dowdle. They get Christian McCaffrey.
Done. Sold. American dollars.
See,
get off my team.
Clay cannot stomach accepting a deal like that, right?
No, it's
Shane has smashed accepted it.
No, yeah, it's not me declining it right off the bat. It's just like, because this is the time of year when it gets gross. It gets gross, but it's all about.
I don't even think that's particularly gross.
But now here's the thing:
better outlook than CMC.
But in that league, it would force my DeAndre Swift to the bench in favor of Rico Dowdle. In that case, does it make sense to move the CMC asset for a Rico Dowdle versus DeAndre Swift?
Yeah, because then I'm just moving them for. I mean, I'm only, and I'm not moving from the production of. I'm moving from the production of Swift to Dowdle because I have to move. Swift
which is you hope it's an up, not a
right.
Not a
no, it's definitely an up. I'll look at the scoring, but he's definitely outscoring them.
It's 60-40. You know what I mean? The point is,
in that case, yeah, no, I understand.
A lot of these deals, the guys he's looking to sell, you're not going to find many start 10s where those guys are upgrades over who the teams in the semifinals are starting. So you're going to have to get creative, like Shane said. Can I send 2 of them for something? Can I find that angle where somebody is not happy with the player in their lineup or that they're considering playing? That's probably the value you're going to have to get back. Because like selling somebody Rico Dowdle, yeah, we have some leagues where, dude, it's a 12-by-13. I would take anybody that's good for this week. You know what I mean? Injured player for non-injured player.
Just need a
deal
regular
done.
Heartbeat in that format.
But I think most of these questions are not 12-by-13, 12-by-12. They're not best ball questions. They're 12-by-10. Well, in a 12-by-10 non-tight end premium, Jonnu Smith is either an upgrade over that person's tight end or he's not. And a lot of teams in the semifinals are McBride, Bowers, Kittle. You know what I mean? So there's just probably not a place where he's starting for them, which makes my want to trade from them very low.
Yep. All right, let's go to Sandiford in the crowd. Yeah, Sandiford is a member of our team. Very recently had another baby. So, pretty recently. It's been a few months now, but congrats on that. And shout out to the crowd. He's in the crowd answering questions, and everybody else is helping each other out as well. That's where the fun is during these streams. Everybody is helping each other out in the crowd. It's a lot of fun to watch. He says, I don't normally ask start-sit questions, but Andrews, Devonta Smith, or Marv. This is PPR, but it's 2.0 for the tight ends. You have to sit one of them. You're sitting one. Andrews. Smith,
I'm sitting
Marv.
one?
You're sitting one.
Yeah, Marv.
You got to play Andrews in a 2 PPR because if he just gets you 4 for 40, it's more than half of Marvin Harrison's games this year.
And that's your choice, is Marv or Devonta, right? And Devonta has a higher ceiling. We just saw what his ceiling is. Like if you decide to talk shit about Jalen Hurts, which I hope someone does again this week, he's going to go out there and eviscerate you.
Come at me, bro.
Yeah. So Devonta, I mean, because they're going to be in a game they have to throw.
They have the Commanders, right? That's a must win. Yeah. Because they're playing for the 1 seed too.
So at least in the first half, before the defense beats the shit out of Jaden Daniels, when the game's still competitive, they're going to have to throw. They're just going to have to, unless Saquon decides to run for 200 yards. God damn, it's really, really nice being a fan of the Eagles. But I'm sitting Marv. He hasn't shown me any ceiling this year.
Except you have to.
Was it week 2 when he went off? There's nothing there.
He had a couple. Yeah, it was week 2 or 3 or something. Yeah, because everybody was all about some neighbors, and then Marv was like, "Hi, I'm still here too." Okay, keep moving here. A few more. All right, let's go to Jason with a question here. Good to see you. So this is a 12-team Superflex, small tight end premium, start 9, 6 point per passing touchdown. We have Burrow, May, Penix at quarterback, Chase, Jetta, CD, JSN, T, and then has Chuba Swift cans. As Chuba Hubbard, DeAndre Swift, and Trash at running back, Kincaid and Kraft at tight end. Just got offered the 107 for Penix. Thoughts? 12-team Superflex start 9. 107, please. Go ahead.
I mean, this team's got to still be in the playoffs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Got to.
Yeah. You turn to profit. I mean, look.
And what can I sell the 107 for to upgrade my lineup and win, you know?
Right.
You can buy Chase. You can get Chase Brown and something solid. I know that's very heavy. That's very heavily exposed to Cincy in that case. Burrow, Chase.
Point is, it's probably easier to trade the 107 to somebody for, I don't know, you might be able to make a run at like Saquon if you have the 107. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You never know, depending on what team he's on. It's probably easier to trade the 107 and a throw-in type for Saquon than it is trade Michael Penix for him, right? So you're just taking the first chain. You don't even, because it goes back to why did people draft Michael Penix when they did?
Mm-hmm.
It was for this week, right?
Yeah,
his value has steadily gotten higher, and his demand is now reaching
by not playing football.
Kind of intrigued by that Michael Penix now. Like people are going to want him. They're going to want to have a share or two sitting on the wayside when he makes his first start. Because if he comes out and he's good, it's like, damn.
Yeah, if he's bad, I'm guessing that 107 is still on the table, right? Although people are that skittish, so I turned to profit. I drafted this dude at 112, 201. And this isn't even saying that I don't think he'll succeed, but I turned to profit, and it's questionable that he'll succeed because it's a question if any young quarterback's going to succeed. For every CJ Stroud, there's a CJ Stroud the next year. For every Jaden Daniels, there's a Will Levis examples. You know what I mean? So I'll take the 107 and move on.
Let me ask you, Shane, would you take the 107 in the league where you mentioned where you have just Knicks and Penix?
Yes.
Okay. So need doesn't matter. You're willing to just basically re-roll on the QB?
107 and a third. Either one.
Get that for the third.
I got to get a second asset.
Make sure you ask for the third.
I got to get a second. Look, we
play in format. We play in deep formats to where like that ends up being a big deal.
Was Bucky Irving being drafted in rookie leagues?
Probably
in those deeper ones, it wasn't the third, like in a 14 teamer. It wasn't the third.
No. But it like a 12 team.
You know what it was? If you had the 308, you probably could have added another third and gotten up to the 303 and gotten whoever you wanted. You know what I mean? You would have had to pick right, but having a couple picks in that range can always give you I really want to move up 5 spots here, and I have to have multiple picks to do it.
Or do you want to try to trade all your thirds when people are getting all hot and bothered over some third round rookie draft pick that's sitting there, some third round, second round wide receiver like Velus Jones or whatever, and they're like, oh, I got to get him. All right, give me your second next year. So,
yeah, let's put this up here. I wonder if Sam is a long time listener. I would say no, because this isn't typically the kind of question we get as a process over players dynasty content team. So, ask, what is your strategy when buying high/low? What do you look for? Okay. It's a buy, sell, hold question, essentially. Who wants to start first? Don't jump at it.
No, it's actually a good question because it's something that I think it throws both of us off because we're, the way that I would approach this is going to be more of a elongated answer. I'm always looking at what is everybody else going to think about the asset that I'm getting. Like there is a time to buy high because you think it can go higher. There is a time to sell low. Shane just did a Shane Says episode of I'm selling low because there's a lot of things pointing downward for this player. And the sell low is maybe the value can't go lower, but you know what can go lower? Somebody might want to buy now and they won't want to buy in 3 months. The price is a second regardless. Like you're not going to accept anything less, but someone may not want him. I'll give you an example. Braylon Allen he was probably a sell low after he started not doing much. Cause it's like, he could be nobody even wants him until he becomes just an NERB on a 53 that you can get for a third. So if you can get 2/3 or a second, he would have been a guy you would have been selling low on because obviously the high would have been when he starts a couple games and you can get even more. You were selling in the opposite situation. So I think I have to really have a good idea of the trajectory of the asset that I'm getting. Not just is it going to increase or decrease in value, Sam, but what are other people going to think about this asset? You're not buying Deebo Samuel low because I can buy. Shane was willing to sell me Deebo Samuel for the equivalent of a third, but I'm looking going, when am I going to be able to get Deebo Samuel? When am I going to be able to get something else for him? I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's almost like I wanted to just not even buy because even though I'm buying low, what am I actually buying? There's more work for me to have to do once I do that buy low.
Yep. Okay. Let's keep on keeping on. So Jalen Ramsey has a question here. For those of us doing mock drafts now, can you guys do a very quick rookie mock of off the top of your heads? I can't. I'll sound like an idiot. I'm not there yet. Can you guys go back and forth?
Yeah, I could roll with it. I mean, literally, we are going off the cuff. What format are we using? Superflex?
Let's do Superflex. Yep. Start 10.
You gotta love leagues, man. Someone's trying to get a first out of me for James Conner, and they just took fucking Isaiah Pacheco on a 26 second because I made another deal. If you would have just given me Aaron Jones with James Conner, you could have had it first, but forget it. Anyway, rookie draft, Shador Sanders, but it's probably going to be Cam Ward. I know it's Ashton Genty, no matter what. Or you know what? Let's do this the correct way. It's running back 1. It's QB 1. It's Ted McMillan. It's QB 2. You're going running back 2 already?
What's the difference between the QB 1 and the QB 2?
QB 2 is going at the 104 in Shane's.
Yeah, I got him at the 104.
Mythical Fairyland.
Let's go back and forth. Let's do a 1-round mock. And Shane, you cannot be wrong. It's December. Okay. You don't even know half the players that are going to go back to school. There's players going back every day because there's money available.
This is kind of my point. I'm not being a smart ass. I'm assigning numbers to them because I have no fucking idea who's going to be the running back 3.
I agree.
Nico Singleton. Okay, Nick Singleton. There's my surprise pick for you. That dude's going to be drafted in, I don't know, way earlier than everyone expects to a situation that's going to be way better because he's going to go to the combine and fucking destroy it. And people are going to go, oh, Penn State's kind of bad with offensive weapons, aren't they? That's kind of their thing, isn't it? And then Nick Singleton's going to jump up there and probably be the RB 2 or 3 of the class. But that's why I'm not assigning names to them. The only names I can assign to the picks, it's Genty at 1.
And the 2 quarterbacks.
And the 2 quarterbacks, it's going to be Shador and Cam. They're going to be within the 104, 102 to 104, and Ted McMillan's probably going to be in there. After that, I don't know, Omari and Hampton, then Nick Singleton. I don't know.
There's going to be another 10 to 12 running backs that get drafted in the top 120. And nobody's going to care if you're pick 88 or pick 58. They're going to care where you landed and who else is on your team, right? Like if I told you this running back is going to get early second round draft capital, you would love that, Shane, right?
Mm-hmm.
until you love Zach Charbonnet and he was on the team with another guy that's exactly the same thing that was a year older than him.
Yeah.
And then there's guys that get drafted in the third and you go, their competition is Rico Dowdle. You know what I mean? You're going, okay, then I like that guy better than the guy who went 38 picks ahead of them because of their situations. There's going to be a lot of running backs. There's going to be a QB3. Right now, if I had to guess, it's gross, but I think it's Jalen Milroe if he declares because he can run.
And
there's going to be somebody that goes,
man.
Screw it. If he's a first-round pick, I'll draft him at a 112, and if he gets 1 year of starts, that's worth the 112 versus just taking another running back. But I'm obviously just putting a name out there. There's a couple other QBs that it could be. But yeah, I'm with Shane. Like us picking names, all we're going to do is just go, oh, I like that name. Sure. He seems like he'll fit in there. Zero convictions. Too early.
Yeah.
Too early.
No,
So
I don't fall in love with any of these dudes except for Nick Singleton because he's going to be an absolute monster.
I do want to ask this real quick of Shane because Terrell put it in the chat. Travis Hunter, Shane, how are you going to approach him? I'm sure we'll talk about him a lot, but like he's going to play offense, but do you really want to spend a first round pick on a guy that might dabble in offense or?
So I think here's the problem, right? I think he's going to do more than dabble, but not be full-time, although he's full-time in college, right? Like he plays every snap in both, and he can at least probably do that while he's a young man, right? He's what, 21? If I was 21, if I wasn't smoking, drinking, and doing drugs all back then, I probably could have done it. Not at that level. I don't see why he can't do both. I have this sense that what's going to happen is that he's going to be so good on offense at some point they're going to decide that we no longer want you at cornerback because I don't think he's not like a Sauce Gardner, right? He's not a Stingley. He's not that good, is he? At corner?
I mean, there's a reason he's the projected like number one pick.
Because he can do both.
But right, but it's not that if he could just be a receiver and it's he can dabble and play a little nickel, you know what I mean? Then he's not going 101. He's going top 10, but not 101. Here's what I think is going to happen with Travis Hunter. Ray and I talked about this the other day. The one thing that I can guess in 4 months, people are going to be so sick of the discourse between Shador Sanders and Travis Hunter because they are not going to say anything. They're not going to talk about anything. They're going to keep it coy. Travis Hunter will do nothing. He won't do anything at the combine. He won't answer questions about what position he's going to play.
Nor should
they're not even going to leak reports about where he's lining up or where they're having him practice. It's just going to be, draft based on, you know what I mean? Like we're not going to even know. I'll bet you when he gets drafted, they're going to announce him as like athlete Travis Hunter. They're not even going to say what position to the point where you're doing your dynasty draft and you don't even know what he's going to do.
Yeah.
That I mean, sure, we may get some hints, but like I do think there's going to be this shroud of mystery. And yet there's people out there in the dynasty space saying he's their wide receiver 2.
Here you go.
He's their wide receiver 3.
IDP leagues. He's the 101, isn't he?
Every one of our IDP leagues, receivers get no credit for tackles. So if he's listed as a receiver, he cannot get tackles.
He can be listed at both because he plays both positions.
Right. But he has to be programmed in the scoring. It has to be that. Now, on the other hand, in offense-only leagues, you're thinking, wait a second, if he's a receiver, but he's getting 5 tackles a game, will he get points? No. I looked at like 5 leagues, like sleeper leagues. There is no tackles. So if you're Marvin Harrison gets an if you're Marvin Harrison fumbles and then makes the tackle, he doesn't get a point.
Right. But
you have to turn that on.
So, and Travis Hunter picks it off, pick 6, and you get nothing for that in an offensive-only league. You're just looking at it like, I hate this. That'd be the reason I wouldn't draft him, because he's going to do that at least 3 times next year.
And you'd be like, yo.
I do wonder, do you think, Clay, is a guy like him that may legitimately play both ways? Is it going to have people saying, hey, my sleeper league, we need to add tackles for offensive players, We need,
maybe.
No,
maybe.
You can't. I'll say this. I've had Shohani.
It's exciting to talk about.
Shohei Ohtani.
Shohan.
Whatever his name is. I don't care. Ohtani. He's a Cy Young level pitcher, and he's also a MVP level hitter. And finally, this year, you get to play him. Well, not this year because he didn't do it, but like the year before that, you finally got to play him in both positions. Before that, like I had to choose one, and I chose pitcher because it's harder to find. But the year after that, I was able to he pitched one day for me, and then he was in the field for 6 days. Maybe I can get something like that for Hunter. I don't know. We got to find.
And speaking of that, check out Shane's other show, Baseball Trades in 5 every Thursday night.
Every Thursday night. Baseball Trades.
Baseball in 5.
Dynasty Baseball Dynasty Diamond in 5.
Yeah, I don't want tackles or anything for that for wide receivers. But I will say, if he scores a pick 6, why is that different than if he returns a punt for a touchdown and I get those points?
Yeah. All right. Let's move on from that guy. Look at this. This is something to celebrate. 270 videos. Who's been with us for a couple of years. It's been a while, guys. Yeah, hope you're well. Made the semis in 22 of 27 leagues. Glad to see you back from your break. Good luck to your teams this week. That's bonkers, man. That's going to be a very profitable, hopefully, very profitable season for you too. Rock on. That's a grinder right there. Degenerate. For 270 videos is a savage, apparently. Ethan Moore is going to have our last question of the night. And again, subscribe, follow, whatever the lingo is on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well. Okay,
then,
Ethan, what's up?
Real quick, some of us might be here for Christmas Eve. I don't know who. Some of us might, maybe.
We'll see. Yeah, maybe. Stand by for that. As I see this little private chat bubble. Oh, okay, it's Shane. Got it. Okay, Ethan asks, is it more likely that wide receivers return to being dominant flex position versus running backs? Either way, is it better to make bets on which players will produce or buy them during the season as they produce? What do you think here, Scott?
Yeah, I've been kind of weighing this same question because historically receivers have been more dominant flexes. What I will say that has not changed this year is receivers, when you get them right, are way better flexes.
Right.
Like it's really hard for your RB20 on the week to just randomly hit 28 points. But it's also difficult to determine, okay, what receivers can give me a 28-point week and how many of them did I not start when they did and that I started when they did it. So it's harder to pick, which is why it's felt like this has been a running back dominant year. I just talked about it on the pod this past week. The percentage of skill player points that have come from running back and receiver this year is actually almost the same as it was last year. But where those points are coming from have felt a lot safer because they're all coming from the RB2s, the RB3s, the same guys that have been there all year. They've stayed healthy and they've been pretty consistent flexes, where if you look at the receivers, I mean, at the top, in the middle, a lot of the receivers that you're going, okay, that guy can give me a spike week or that guy can give me a spike week. A lot of those guys have gotten injured. So it's felt like it's harder this year to nail the flexes at receiver, which makes people think, okay, running backs have been the dominant flexes. I mean, true, they have if you've had the healthier of the two, but I don't think it's like, oh, I would Shane, who would you rather start in the flex? Like Devonta Smith or Tony Pollard? If I needed a 30, it's hard to say it's the running back unless it's just the perfect situation.
Depends on the running back. If it's Chase Brown, I'm just sticking Chase Brown in there. But yeah, point taken.
The point is, I'm talking like an RB2 where you're saying they're on an average offense, but they're going to get, Brian Robinson. That's a perfect example. Like that, he's not probably putting up 25 plus in a lot of games, but he's probably a pretty safe bet to get you 14.
Yep.
But there's been a lot of receivers that we would have said are wide receiver 2s and 3s. They don't average 14 a game. But they have 2 or 3 games a year where they go for 25. And then they have some games where they get you 8, or they've had games where they get injured. So to answer the question, receivers are going to be always the dominant flexes when you get it right. But this year has created a landscape where it's been harder to nail those mid-tier receivers versus running backs. It's been, I mean, honestly, guys, I can't think of a mid-tier. Dude, there's very few mid-tier running backs that have missed more than a game. Every one of these guys, we go, oh, these guys are going to get dinged up and miss at least 3 or 4 games. It's like Pollard, Swift, Connor. They're here every week.
Still just grinding through, man.
So.
Yep. All right. Cheers. 208 folks still watching here at the end. We've had a rock solid like 190 to 200 or so. Thanks so much for joining. Hit that like if you'd be so kind. Turn on the notification bells. I'm exhausted. That's good night for me. Shane, Scott, would you like to say good night to the crowd?
Just in case we're not broadcasting next week, happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, whatever you celebrate, or if you celebrate nothing, whatever, that's cool too. So just enjoy the day off from work. So not Canadians though, they don't get Christmas, right? Do they have a Christmas? Are they like us? No, they don't have Thanksgiving. I don't know. They're not real people.
I have no idea, honestly.
Yeah, I don't even think
probably pathetic.
It's a fake ass country. Anyway, no, just everyone. I hope you have a great holiday and enjoy the time with your family and friends. Hopefully,
Scott.
Likewise, appreciate everybody hanging with us. We've been back for a couple weeks now, and looking forward to. I mean, these weeks are fun, but it'll end, and a lot of people will go. I'm not really feeling Dynasty for a little bit, but. Right here, shifting to the offseason. It's going to be a different offseason for me because the game is different. This is the first year where I'm really thinking, like, what is the content we're going to talk about in this offseason? Because there's a lot of question marks that are going to come up, which is good. I mean, it keeps us on our toes. So appreciate everybody listening. Good luck in your semifinal matchups. Hopefully you get to the finals. And if we don't talk to you next week, hopefully you have some ships in tow in a couple weeks when we're back.
Yeah, we'll talk soon. All right, I'm going to end this stream. Cheers, everyone. See you next time.
Later.